Good morning. It's November 15th, right around freezing, a couple of degrees below at the moment, going above today with rain. It's currently doing something, drizzling maybe? Hopefully not freezing rain in the getting the streets really slippery kind of way. A little bit foggy too, and of course not very bright, because the sun only came up a little while ago and it's behind clouds, so we still got street lights on this morning. It's Monday, so that means a walk along the creek. First time in the snow. You can see how foggy it is looking down that way. As I've said a few times now, I think the snow is here to stay. It's going to get colder, it's going to snow again tomorrow, then there's some more snow in the forecast a little further down the road. No sign of a thaw. And of course, we're still moving into winter. It's still only fall, so I would say that it is here to stay. There was enough fresh snow. I'm going to have to think about I don't think anybody was watching live to begin with, but I was worried when I got up this morning. The light was on one of the microphones, which would mean that it had been on overnight. And I fully expected it. Okay, I'm going to reset this too. Everyone hold on. It's got a... What the heck? Oh, wrong button. Whee! Now we're going to put it up again. There we go. Okay, we'll just go with the camera microphone. Now the gimbal's acting up. It shouldn't wobble that much. Okay, everybody hold on again. I'm gonna rebalance everything here. Okay, carrying on. My microphone's dead. My gimbal is acting up. Nobody was watching live anyway, so if you watched that on the recording, I apologize for that. The sound won't be as good now, but the visuals will still be good. And I hope I got sound at all. If it's completely silent, well, maybe I'll put music over it or something. You can see that the creek is frozen somewhat because there's snow on it. So I don't know how much of what I said earlier got recorded, but again, it's November 15th. It's foggy. It's about, at this point, about 20-25 minutes after sunup. There's somebody with a dog. There's always somebody with a dog. I always hope I'll get a walk to myself, but there's always somebody with a dog. At least the footing seems better. Morning. You can see the snow on the river. And the other thing I was saying before I set off was that fairly busy day. I've got a TV interview at 9:45 my time with Lloydminster TV. I've got my daughter to the airport to fly back to the University of Toronto, and I've got a podcast interview to do today with Mark Leslie, the Fever. Morning. And a couple of other podcast interviews this week with Michael Brent Collings and James Kennedy. There's the footbridge, which we will go across. So I'm going to follow a pretty standard walking pattern today. If you're there, please let me know. Having unplugged the microphone, which wasn't working, I'm hoping that like you can now hear me just through the camera mic. I haven't relied on just it for a while. Trouble was the microphone was left turned on overnight. My fault. So the battery died. Okay, looking east. Let's move over further. West. the footpath. Which hopefully is not too slippery. I would say those are kids slowly making their way to school up there. Maybe. So if you compare this to last week, you'll see how things have changed abruptly in a week. I could edit all this, take off all the first part until I got it all settled again back there and just start from there for the recording. Might do that. Hi, Kirk in Vancouver. I hope you can hear me. My lapel mic is not operational this morning because I left the receiver turned on overnight, and one of the two mics, one of them is a receiver, and it naturally its battery died. So if you can hear me, tell me you can hear me. A little slippery, but not too bad. I've walked over there, but I won't today with the snow. There's another dog. That's my third one of the morning. Dog having fun. Baseball diamond over here. Won't be seeing a lot of action for the next 6 months. It could still melt in December. It's entirely possible you'll get a surge of warm air. Or it could be that this is as good as it gets now till April. You never know when the winter starts. Hi, Mohammed. Yeah, snow's pretty. You get tired after it after a few months, weeks, days. Creek's over there. Once we get a little further into the season, I'll do a nighttime walk and look at Christmas lights. Unfortunately, Regina's downtown Christmas lights are kind of sad these days. Saskatchewan has much better ones. But lots of people put up good displays. So it should make a good nighttime walk or two as we get closer to the holidays. Again, baseball diamond that will not see much use now for some time. I haven't actually done a walk just using the camera microphone, the phone microphone, with the iPhone 13. I don't know if they did any improvements in that area or not. I'll be interested to listen to it. I just zip up my pocket because that's where I put the microphones. I don't want them to fall out without me knowing it. There we go. Just a bit of fog this morning. Still a touch of color here or there where the leaves haven't quite left the bushes, but it's kind of rare right now. Pretty much everything is gone bare for the winter. Sometime during this walk, the lights will go off because it gets bright enough. But right now, with the fog, even though we're about half an hour past sunrise, the lights are still on, street lights. At least some of them are. Like that one dead ahead of us. Although the ones on either side aren't. So pretty much off, I guess. This is Elphinstone, where fortunately there is a crosswalk light. As we enter Les Sherman Park. The creek's right over there behind those trees. On a still day like today, the iPhone microphone doesn't do too badly. It's on a windy day that it can suffer the most. That's when the lapel mic, even though it picks up the wind noise, is better. The lapel mic has a more intimate sound, I guess. Anyway, I spent quite a bit of money trying to get a lapel mic that worked, so I'm going to use it. I just have to charge it up again, and it'll be back tomorrow. Wherever I walk tomorrow, if I walk tomorrow, depends on what the weather's doing. I'm not going to guarantee daily walks in the winter. I guess I didn't really guarantee them in the summer, but there could be winter days when I'm just not going out, usually to do with wind chill. I know from experience that if I dress warm, I'm good because of the heat to generate walking around minus 20 Celsius, which is about minus 4 Fahrenheit, if the wind's not blowing. If the wind's blowing, it gets iffy. Even with the parka and long underwear and everything else. It's the face. It's the face that's hard to keep warm. And fingers and toes. A bit more color because of the grass there. Again, the creek is partially frozen. Frozen enough that the snow is sticking to the ice and not just melting in the water. There's another. Oh, is there a dog? Yes. Yes, there's a dog. More than one dog. Looks like they're going the other way though. Oh, they're just little dog, two little dogs. Over the footbridge and through the woods. A live streaming we go. Okay, another look at the creek. To the east. To the west. And on we go. Just gonna take my hat off at least for a while. My head's getting quite warm. I'll follow the winding path today. Clearly the park lights are less sensitive to the growing light than the actual street lights are, because I think the street lights are off, but the park lights are still on. Bit of color left in these trees too. It's not exactly leaves. I think it's the, might be, no, maybe it's leaves. And here it's actually just the branches. The thin branches are a different color than the big branches. Well, traction's not slowing me down too much today, which is good. Yesterday, along 13th, it was a lot of patches of not just ice, but wet ice that had melted a little on top. That's the worst. Dry ice is slippery, but not as bad as ice closer to freezing. Well, dry ice. It's probably not slippery at all. But it doesn't get that cold. The carbon dioxide doesn't freeze out of the air anywhere on Earth. Another dog. And his owner. Off into the park. Morning.
Morning, McCormick.
Hi.
Hi.
I thought you looked familiar. Someone I know. She's, or has been at least, involved with the movie industry, casting people for commercials. And we used to have more of a film industry here than we do. So the government got rid of the subsidies and it mostly went away. Still some, but Not as much as we had for a bit. I've never gotten much out of it. I've auditioned for a few things, but never got anything to speak of. I was actually scheduled to have a meeting with people about my books on the morning that the government announced they were ending the subsidies, and that was the end of that. So I was not a fan of that decision, even though in general, politically wise, I'm probably more on the government side than the opposition side, but that doesn't mean I agree with everything. And I voted for, I think 5 different political parties, because I can vote in the States for presidential elections too. So between Canada and the US, I think I voted at least once for every political party, or a candidate from every political party. So I guess I'm one of those independent voters who are always trying to sway to their side. We'll go under the bridge, I think, and go a little further. I don't know if we'll go as far as the Italian club. I think I'll stay on this side of 13th, or of Louvain. So could be a little less than an hour today. Haven't made the turnaround yet, though. Still getting further from home with every step. Here by the creek. So Pascal Street is just up that little rise. We're going to go under it. Down under the bridge. Under the boardwalk. Oh, someone crossing the bridge. Nice of them to add a little human interest to the shot. Bridge. There's usually more ice under the bridge because the water is more protected. And sure enough, pretty well frozen, but there's, why is there water bubbling right there? I think maybe it's dripping off of the road. That's what it's doing. It's not bubbling up from underneath, which is what I thought at first. I think it's dripping from the bridge, although I can't really see it dripping. behind the pillar. Nobody has walked this direction this morning. Can't tell which way the bicycles were going, but all the tracks point in the other direction. Hi, Colleen. It is quite pretty. I like this kind of foggy, snowy day. And it's not terribly cold. In fact, I'm quite warm from walking. So how long am I to here? 30 minutes? Yeah, I will not go under the next bridge, which is the Louvain. You can see the cars going by. But we'll go around the through the snow and around the corner of the ballpark. I'll be less likely to do that as the snow gets deeper. Ooh. I look a little weird on the screen. Excuse me. A frog in my throat. I'll follow this path around to the right instead of walking by the apartment buildings there today. We'll go in behind them. Someone's come that way through that little path. This will bring us up to Sask Express, which is an old school that's now home to Saskatchewan Express, which is a touring performing company and also has classes and things like musical theater and stuff like that. Been around for a very long time, since I was a teenager, in fact. Actually, I auditioned for them a couple of times. My downfall, I mean, they had no qualms at all about my singing. My downfall was my complete and total inability to dance. I always thought I could learn, given enough time, but there were people who could pick it up quicker than I was going to. So this is the Saskatchewan Express here. This is the old school gym, and they've turned it into quite a nice little theater. I've never been in a show in there, but Regina Art musical theater that I'm heavily involved with did a production of Putnam County 25th Annual Spelling Bee in there, which is very appropriate because it is a spelling bee which happens in a school, so you couldn't have had a better theater for that. And an excellent production as well, even if I wasn't in it. Not quite that egotistical. Here's the front, Sask Express. And we will make our way across Sask right here. And go down this side of the park. What is the temperature right now? It's just below freezing. -1 or -2 Celsius. maybe even up to freezing, right around 0. Actually, considering how slushy everything is, it's probably more like right at freezing or even one above. Won't get much warmer. It's supposed to go to +2, I think, or 3 or something like that. Actually, warm up a bit more overnight, I think. And then temperature takes a turn. And it's supposed to be raining, and that's supposed to turn to snow, it looks like, from the forecast. Anyway, there's snow in the forecast for tomorrow. Fresh snow. And then it gets colder after that for a bit. No really bitter cold in the forecast. Long range forecast, which now is almost to the end of the month, shows highs of around -5 or -6, which I think is probably pretty close to normal for this time of year. Might even be a bit below normal. And there's more snow in the long range forecast, so as I've said now several times, I think this is it. I think now we get snow, at least some, on the ground until April. Even when you get a bit of a thaw and it melts off sunny stretches, because the sun is so low, the snow remains in the shadows. So it takes a very long time, for example, for our very sheltered backyard to completely melt off in the spring. Long after the front yard is clear, there'll still be some snow back there. Sherwin Park again, or still. I don't know if it changed names when I crossed the bridge or not. A long straight stretch here, but the park is always right there. Which is more interesting than just pointing it down here. So I'll point it over to the side while I walk along here. The roads are always brown and sloppy at this temperature, so they don't look very good. Photography-wise, anyway. They actually look good if you're driving, because brown and sloppy means they're not white and slippery. We'll walk down by the Neil Bockwell Center today. I don't want to walk too close to the edge either. He splatted slush onto the sidewalk almost. Almost got me. See the soccer field / football field there. I've never seen anybody play football on it, but I know they play soccer on it. Which of course is football to most of the world. Here we make the distinction differently. See how foggy it is. A bit more open space there. So we'll go around the corner up here. One thing I have to do today is mail a big box of books to Wolseley, Saskatchewan, where there's a new bookstore called Raven, something Raven. They have their grand opening coming up, actually this weekend. And so I'm sending a lot of my books, the ones I've published through Shadowpaw Press, primarily, and the Shards of Excalibur series, which I now publish through Shadowpaw Press, but my print copies are still all the Kato Books version, because I got those really cheap when Kato Books went out of business. So you can get a new print version through Amazon. If you order a print version on Amazon of any of the Shards of Excalibur books, it'll be a new print version from Shadowpaw Press. But for in-person sales, I'll continue to sell the Kato Books version. Hopefully we'll get more of those. I see that Sask Expo in Saskatchewan is currently planning to run in April next year. And if they do, I will definitely be there with my table. I usually can sell $1,000 worth of books that weekend. Admittedly, there are expenses involved too, so profit is nowhere near like that. It's a really good way to pick up new newsletter subscribers and things like that. Because I do have a newsletter, which I need to work on to try to build the subscriber list more than it is. It's currently at about 1,000. But in newsletter world, if you have 1,000, you're lucky if you get 100 people that actually open your newsletter. So to get 1,000 people to look at it, you probably need 10,000 subscribers. Background. This is the Neo Balkwell Civic Arts Center coming up here. Crosswalk is down there, but I'll risk going down by the building here and crossing Elphinstone closer to the bridge. Very sloppy here. The Art Gallery of Regina is in here as well, a small art gallery. You can take all sorts of art classes in here, which I really like to do. I mean, I was a minor in art, and I always loved drawing and all that. But, you know, you can only do so much. Unfortunately, that's not the exit only, but I was going in anyway. That's the seniors activity center there. Art, it says right there, art. AGR, Art Gallery of Regina. Entrance this way. There's the main entrance. Regina Lyric Musical Theatre, formerly Regina Lyric Opera, used to hold his annual meetings in there, and I remember singing in there a couple of times. One year we did, for the AGM, we did a trial by jury by Gilbert and Sullivan, and that was very early on. And a little bit later, my a cappella group, Midnight Sun, performed for the AGM. What I mainly remember about that is that there was a certain young lady I kind of liked, and I convinced the guys to change the words to Barbara Ann to Margaret Ann. So we sang Margaret Ann. And it so happens that my wife is now Margaret Ann. So I don't know if that had anything to do with that. I don't think so. I think it was too early in our relationship. But still, funny how things work out, isn't it? Hopefully we get a chance to cross here without going all the way to the footbridge and into the crosswalk. We'll cross after this guy goes by, because there ain't nobody coming. in either direction. Okay, and now we're back along the creek. Now on the north side dike. There's the Elphinstone Street Bridge. And again, you can tell that the creek is frozen enough that the snow has collected on parts of it. Get a sense of the fog again along here. There's another dog. Maybe one I've already seen, I don't know. I think we'll take the path down here today. So, say goodbye to the creek as we start to wend our way homeward. By the playground. Water dripping over there down the drain pipe. I'll walk this way to the right. This is Garnet Street, where I used to live, in the next block down, this block. Big new house there, compared to the more typical smaller houses in this neighborhood. Mine was really tiny when I lived here. It's still there. Won't see it on this walk. It's a half block down, and I'm not going that far. There's a squirrel up the tree. Don't know if you saw him or not. I did. This tree, he's up there somewhere. Oh, there he is. Hello there. Oh. little calmer than sometimes. Maybe the cold weather makes them sluggish, I don't know. They should be getting ready to, I don't think they hibernate. Estivate? That's one step below hibernation. They do a lot of sleeping, but aren't necessarily completely conked out like a hibernator would be. I don't know, I'm making that up. But it sounded good, didn't it? I did write a column on it once upon a time, back when I was doing a science column, but I wrote a column about a lot of things, and at this point it mostly just comes down to, I wrote a column about that. I should look it up and see what it says. Writers don't remember everything they wrote. Once it's written, the moving hand writes and having written moves on. The writer brain writes and having written moves on. I mean, I wrote a whole book on genetics that I could not possibly tell you what's in it now. I even did all the illustrations. I remember doing it, but I haven't looked at the book in years. Genetics Demystified, if you're wondering, from McGraw-Hill. And the newer one's down here. Came out in 2005, so it's woefully out of date by now. But it still sells a few copies. I suppose the general information is okay, but anything about the most cutting edge stuff is hopelessly out of date. There'd be nothing in it about CRISPR, for example. And I don't even think the Human Genome Project was complete yet. Henderson Terrace, the old row houses along here. This is where we run into Leopold Crescent, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump from here to home. This big house, which I always like. And I like the one next to it too. Just two very different vintages. Actually, I should run the snow shovel over the walk. Do I use the electric? Bought one for this winter. First time I used it, I hated it. Then I found out I was holding it upside down, so that may have had something to do with why it was so hard to wield. So if I hold it right side up, maybe I'll like it. Just not sure if there's enough snow to justify it or not today. All right, this is the corner of Rutalic Avenue and Leopold Crescent. So I will just go up one block here. It's down this side because of the snow shoveler there. Normally I'd walk on the other side. And here's the stop sign I usually stop at, so I will do so again. Thanks for walking with me on this snowy day along the creek. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.